The presentation, fiscal year 2016 audited financial reports.
Good evening.
Welcome. We're ready whenever you are.
Okay, so we start first then, right?
Sure,
Okay.
I think so. Is there a staff report first, or?
Yes.
Oh, then I guess you better wait a minute.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. My name is Kim Francisco, and I work as the controller for the city within the finance department. I'm here tonight to present our fiscal year 2016 audited financial reports. Each of you have been provided with a copy of our FY16 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, also called the CAFR, at Attachment A, the Internal Control Letter at Attachment B, the Letter of Required Communications at Attachment C, and the Management Letter at Attachment D. Dan Kenny is a certified public accountant and a partner with Cohn Resnick, our independent audit firm. He will come forward to momentarily discuss and provide insight on each of the reports. I would first like to highlight a few noteworthy items related to the city's financial statements. The city is required to produce a basic financial statement annually and to undergo an independent financial audit. The city has elected to produce a CAFR, which provides more financial data and enhances transparency. Each year that the city prepares its comprehensive annual financial report, it is submitted to the Government Finance Officers Association for review. A few months ago, the city was notified that it received its 26th consecutive award for excellence in financial reporting. Obtaining this award means producing a CAFR that is thorough in disclosing significant accounting matters and compliant with all reporting and accounting standards, such as the newly adopted GASB Statement 72, which introduced fair value measurements and added disclosures to city financial statements. While we are always honored to receive awards, we place emphasis on the value of receiving the peer reviews from other industry experts. Upon receiving our CAFR, the Government Finance Officers Association distributes the report to 3 separate and independent governmental accounting experts from across the country. These experts review our CAFR and provide meaningful feedback, which we utilize to improve our financial reporting and internal control policies. Staff has submitted the FY16 CAFR for review and hopes to continue to earn recognition for excellence in financial reporting. Staff is pleased with the outcome of our independent external audit, which came with a clean audit opinion and no cited instances of internal control weaknesses. The CAFR will be made available on the city's website at www.rockvillemaryland.gov/financial reports. As a reminder, our independent auditors work directly for the mayor and council. Each of the formal letters, including the audit opinion, are addressed to the mayor and council. So you all are encouraged to take advantage of them while they're here to ask any questions that you might have. At this time, Dan Kenny and Fula Master-Vasilis will discuss each report and address any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much and welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Here to present the June 30th, 2016 financial statements for the city. Within your attachment A, you'll see that you received the Certificate of Achievement in Excellence in Financial Reporting, and also included in your financials are your basic financial statements, your notes, your required supplementary information, etc. As mentioned, our opinion, we have issued a clean opinion or an unmodified opinion, and the fact that your financial statements for the year ended June 30th, 2016 are fairly presented. If you go to attachment B, this is our report on internal control, on compliance and other matters. And if you look, there are 2 sections. There's internal control over financial reporting and compliance and other matters. And if you were to look at the 3rd paragraph, it indicates that there are no material weaknesses noted. And if you look under compliance and other matters, the 1st paragraph, the last sentence The results of our test disclosed no instances of non-compliance. So we wanted to point those two items out. Now what I'm going to do is turn it over to Ms. Mastro-Vasilis. She's going to go through two items, attachment C and D. Attachment C is the communication with those charged with governance, and then the management letter.
Good evening. I will be going first through the communication with management, and this is addressed to you. And this communication is basically our way of communicating to management information related to the audit under professional standards. The first section is significant audit findings, and in this section we speak of what GASBs were implemented in the current year. The two that kind of go together are GASB statement number 72, which are fair value measurements and application. This relates to the OPEB and the pension trust investments. They are presented at fair value, and this implementation is now requiring to have these investments categorized within the fair market value hierarchy of GAAP. In addition, GASB number 79 relates to certain external investment pools accounting, and this for the city relates to the Maryland Local Investment Government Pool. This was always reported at fair market value, and with this implementation, it is now reported at amortized cost. GASB statement number 76 was also implemented this year, the hierarchy of general accepted accounting principles for the state and local governments. This one relates to allowing entities or municipalities to utilize previously non-authoritative guidance or implementation guides as authoritative literature currently. The next paragraph goes into that a change of accounting policy was implemented this year. The city implemented a revised accounting policy for the recognition of certain citations, where the citations are recognized under a modified accrual basis. There were no other new accounting policies noted except the ones I noted above, as well as no changes to the existing policies. The second page speaks to accounting estimates. The most sensitive estimates that are affecting the basic financials include depreciation and amortization expense of assets, management's estimate of accumulated vacation leave, management's estimate of allowance for doubtful accounts, and management's estimate of actuarial accrued liabilities. We did perform procedures on this, and we deem them reasonable related to the financial statements as a whole. There were no difficulties encountered during the audit. A summary of uncorrected misstatements was previously provided to management, summarizing all uncorrected misstatements, and there was one adjustment that was detected as a result of our audit procedures related to the fourth quarter Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission capital expenditures. That was also corrected by management. There were no disagreements with management. Management also provided a letter with certain representations that was dated on October 28th, 2016. The following page, page 3, there were no additional management consultation with other independent accountants. There were no additional audit finding or issues. The section under other matters states that we did apply certain limited procedures to the required supplementary information, which includes the management discussion and analysis, city's employee retirement system schedules, the post-employment benefit plan schedules, and the budgetary comparison schedule of the general fund. The information is deemed appropriate and complete in relation to the audited financial statements. The next letter that I'm going to go through is the management letter, which is attachment D. This letter is our way of communicating strengthening of internal controls and operating efficiency comments. In the current year, we identified one comment related to the IT risk assessment. Management performed and documented an IT security and control risk assessment in fiscal year 2016. However, the assessment didn't include estimations of the significant risks and assessments of the likelihood of the risk occurring. Therefore, we documented that this would probably be appropriate for them to be included in the next annual risk assessment, which the IT department did say that they were going to include, which was going to be completed in June of 2017. The next comments are previous year comments and the current status of those comments. there's 5 total comments in this section, 3 of which have already been fully addressed and remedied, which are obsolete software, removal of temporary employees, and the disaster recovery plan. The remaining 2 are still ongoing, which are the employee timesheets, which are noted that there were certain items of the employee timesheets that were resulting in retroactive adjustments, so the timesheet wasn't completed accurately. And there were instances in employee information that were not inputted into the HR system correctly, which could have resulted in over and underpayment of an employee, and also incorrect reporting of your annual withholdings. HR did state that they will continue to review and update and enhance the processes as needed, and will continue to enhance and enforce the guidelines with their employees and supervisors.
Okay, so that concludes our presentation. I know it was relatively fast. We wish the audit was fast, but not that easy. Okay, if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy as your independent auditor, answer any questions now or later. Feel free to contact us.
Councilmember Plakovich-Carr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Glad to hear there were no red flags in the audit and city's financial systems appear to continue to look good. I did just want to get some clarification on something that you raised. It was in the document communication with those charged with governance.
Yes.
You mentioned the adjustment for the WSSC
Yes.
invoice. Can you just clarify? So basically, was it an issue in terms of the timing of when it was reported?
Right.
Okay.
So we confirm with WSSC all the capital expenditures that were incurred for the fiscal year. This invoice came to the city late, but when we confirmed it, it did relate to the period June 30, 2016. Therefore, we proposed the adjustment. The city was aware it did come in a little bit later, and that's why I feel like it was more of a timing difference rather than.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Plakovich-Carr.
Not for the auditors. I had a question for staff, if that's okay. Page 22 of attachment A, the bigger document. I just was curious about the net pension liability for the city. It seemed like, to me at least, a pretty big increase in that liability from 2015 to 2016. It went from 14.3 million to 17.9 million. And I think there was one sentence in here that just said based on projected future pension payments. But I'm curious what changed in the modeling that would have caused that big of an increase in a single year.
There was no single event that contributed to this change. Every year we have an actuarial study performed, and they use a wide array of underlying assumptions, projections about mortality, investment return projections, and those things all funnel into the city's projected net pension liability. These are not actual costs or expenses that the city will be expected to liquidate in the near future, but rather something quite far out in the distance. And this number, even the 14.3 million, only came onto the city's financial statements in FY16 as a result of a new accounting pronouncement that we were required to implement along with all other municipalities. So it is somewhat of a new accounting concept, but there's no single event that made this number change so drastically. It just is a reflection of what the city is projected to need to pay in the very long term for all of its retirement expenses.
Yeah, and to further expand on that, if you were to look at A70, page 60 in your document, there's a analysis of the change in rates that are used by the actuary, where a 1% decrease or a 1% increase, you can see the difference in the calculation and what it does to this estimate. And as Mrs. Francisco mentioned, this number can change, and there are assumptions used in here, and that's why that significant estimate and showing the range of what happens if it goes up by 1% or down by 1% is very important. You can see the swing is fairly substantial.
Thank you. And I guess maybe the news that Councilmember Priscilla mentioned earlier about the decision from the retirement board might have some effect then on those projections too?
I'm sure it will,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, it's just a matter of recognizing reality and that we need to be dealing with the real data, so.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
I would like to take one moment just to thank Dan Kenny and Fula Mastrovasilis for their over 10 years of service to the city, functioning as our independent external auditors. We have been very fortunate to have worked with them for so long, and the city will be putting out a request for proposal in the coming weeks for audit services. And so we look forward to that process, getting that process underway for FY17 and years forward.
Thank you. Councilmember Pershilla.
Madam Mayor, I just want to also note that it's just really nice to see the same faces coming up, and you're very familiar with our city, and that has made it easier for all of us. I appreciate the service and the great work you have done for us. And I also want to thank city staff for their great work to produce year after year pretty good reports, pretty clean reports. And when there is something, you note it, and they take care of it. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Now ready for agenda item 16, a presentation on the FY 2016 Popular Annual Financial Report, PAFR.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening. Tonight I'm here to present the Popular Annual Financial Report, which is a little bit of a lighter document than the CAFR that was just presented to you. This is the 10th consecutive year that we've produced the Popular Annual Financial Report, or what we call the PAFR. And what this document does is it's designed to make the financial information that is in the CAFR a little more easy to understand, or a little more readable for our stakeholders, our residents, our business owners. The PAFR is not meant to be a replacement for the CAFR, but a supplementary document that really explains some of our financial information. 2 pages in the PAFR that are my favorites and that we've looked at in prior years and we've received very positive comments on include page 8, which is the Understanding Your Property Tax Bill. And what that is a print screen of a Montgomery County tax bill with call-out boxes that highlight what portion of the county's tax bill relate directly to the city of Rockville. You can see new on that tax bill this year is the Rockville refuse charge, which was one change that we made. So I hope that residents are able to use this page to learn a little more about their tax bill. Similarly, on page 10 of the PAFR, which I believe is A11 of your attachment, is a sample utility bill. And this has a little more information and explains both the water and sewer refuse billing, the different components of the billing, and the rates charged. As I mentioned, this is the 10th consecutive year that we've produced the PAFR. We've received 9 years of awards from GFOA. We plan to submit this document in the next few weeks. We did print out about 30 copies, which was about what we did last year, and we do plan to place them at our largest facilities, such as the Senior Center and the Glenview Mansion, and of course we will have some out front. This will be posted on the website tomorrow, and we really look forward to residents reading it, and I hope you find it a helpful document as well. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Any comments or questions? Councilmember Feinberg.
I love this document. I've loved it the first time I've seen it. I love it every year. I actually look forward to it. I know that's really geeky, but I have to say to you, Ms. Webster, I celebrate it. I sing your praises with this document. I have shared it with many of my colleagues at the county and asked them to emulate it. Last year they asked to see it, and I sent it right away. Thank you for doing this, for everybody involved, for residents, for business owners, for us, for your colleagues. It is just probably the best I've ever seen. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you.